this evening. First, a man has been charged with murder in a wedding day robbery gone wrong. Hear how the tragic event unfolded and what led police to arrest 25-year-old Nicholas Singh, also known as Spooky. Plus, a decade-old cold case comes to a shocking conclusion. A suspect is in custody for the 2012 murder of Leroy Talgett after a chilling confession. We'll bring you the latest updates. In domestic violence reform, Attorney General Anil Nandlal says officers must act without hesitation when responding to reports. How new police units are being trained to combat this ongoing issue. And in Bartica, a crackdown on driving under the influence sees multiple offenders fined or jailed. What this means for road safety moving forward. Finally, Evo Morales leads thousands in a march to La Paz. What's behind the massive protests against Bolivia's government? Stay tuned for these stories and more right here on Headline News. Welcome to this broadcast of Channel 2's Headline News Update for September 24th, 2024. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. First up, 25-year-old Nicholas Singh, also known as Spooky, was arrested and charged with murder in connection with a robbery that resulted in the death of 40-year-old Nate Ramprasad on December 31st, 2023 at Canal No. 2 Polder, West Bank, Demerara. Singh appeared in Wales Magistrates Court before Magistrate Rhonda Weaveron on September 16, 2024, where the charge was read to him. He was remanded to prison until October 10, 2024. The incident occurred during a wedding celebration at the Samsunda residence, where three masked bandits invaded the venue shortly before 9 p.m. Armed with a handgun, the robbers shot and injured 57-year-old Manny Paul Rambarak, stealing his gold band valued at $250,000. Prasad chased the intruders but was shot in the back of the head during a struggle. Emergency services transported Rambarak to Woodlands Hospital. Meanwhile, Prasad was pronounced dead upon arrival at the West Demerara Regional Hospital. A post-mortem examination revealed the cause of death consistent with a gunshot wound to the back of his head. Police recovered 3 spent shells casing from the scene and reviewed CCTV footage from the event before arresting and charging Singh. He will return to court on October 10th for a report. In other news, a suspect was charged with the 2012 murder of Leroy Talgett after new evidence and a recent confession emerged. Dale Jarvis has more details.
46-year-old Reverend Francis was arrested on September 17, 2024 and charged with the murder of Leroy Talgett, whose disappearance in December 2012 remained unsolved for over a decade. Francis appeared in Diamond Magistrates Court before Magistrate Wanda Fortune on September 23, 2024, where he was remanded to prison. Talgett, a former employee of the Guyana Energy Agency, was last seen leaving his home on December 23, 2012 in his Toyota Ram motor car. 5 days later, his car was found abandoned along the Linden-Suzac Highway, but there was no sign of him. In a recent police interview, Francis reportedly confessed to a witness that he strangled Talgett in his car and buried his body. The witness also stated that Francis had given her a bank card to withdraw money shortly after Talgett went missing. Francis was previously detained in January 2013 but released due to insufficient evidence. However, new developments in 2022 prompted police to issue a wanted bulletin for him, ultimately leading to his recent arrest. Francis' next court date for disclosure of statements is set for October 9, 2024. The investigation continues as authorities seek further evidence related to the case. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jarvis.
Thanks, Dale. Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs, Anil Nandlal, emphasized that police officers must not hesitate to respond to domestic violence reports during a gender-based violence symposium on Sunday. Speaking at the event held at the Arthur Chang Convention Center, Nandlal addressed complaints that officers often treat domestic violence as a private matter.
All of us in this room would have heard that complaint, that the police officers say it's a private matter, they can't get involved. That's completely wrong.
The Attorney General clarified that this approach is wrong and Ghana Police Force officers benefited from training programs specifically aimed at educating officers on Domestic Violence Act. He noted that the government is introducing special units at police stations to handle domestic violence cases and ensure proper documentation. Additionally, every station must have a dedicated vehicle to respond swiftly to such incidents.
The police have to create units, and we had begun to do this administratively within each police station to deal with domestic violence.
The Attorney General has also engaged the Police Commissioner to deliver lectures on the recently passed Family Violence Act of 2024, ensuring officers understand their legal responsibilities. These initiatives build on the 2021 Cop Squad 2000 program, which aimed to train at least 50% of police officers in handling domestic violence cases. With these measures in place, the government is determined to minimize domestic violence in the country and continue to uphold a zero-tolerance approach towards police officers' lackadaisical response to such cases. Stick around when we return. President Ali calls for urgent global action on poverty, climate change, and food security. And Bartica intensifies DUI crackdown.
GCOM is currently conducting a national registration exercise. Who can register? Anyone who will be 14 years or older by December 31, 2024 and is a Guyanese citizen by birth, descent, naturalization, or is a citizen from a Commonwealth country living in Guyana for 1 year or more. Where to apply for registration? You are required to visit the registration office that is responsible for the registration of persons in your area of residence to apply for registration. Office hours, Monday to Thursday, 8 to 12 hours, 13 hours to 16 hours 30, and Friday from 8 to 12 hours and 13 to 15 hours 30. The offices will be closed on weekends and holidays. This registration exercise will end on November 29, 2024. For further information, contact the GCOM on 225-027729 or visit the website www.gcom.org.gy.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for do a surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream. Located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized gear, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness. Or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton, and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Speak clearly with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Mill Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Welcome back. During a recent United Nations meeting, President Dr. Mohamed Irfan Ali emphasized the urgent need for global action on critical issues like poverty, climate change, and food insecurity and equality. At the summit, the UN adopted a pact for the future to adapt to the fast-changing world. President Ali highlighted that now is the time to turn ambitious goals into real actions.
Yesterday, we adopted the pact for the future. The task for us now is to move from ambition to action. Actions that create an ecosystem of harmony between the environment, people, planet, and technology. But most of all, one that promotes human dignity. Poverty has been a constant for hundreds of millions for this and past generations. This we must change now.
The president emphasized the need for a new system to manage carbon credits, a crucial step in addressing the worsening global food insecurity. His call for innovative solutions underscores the gravity of the situation and the need for immediate action. He mentioned that $90 billion is needed by 2030 to provide basic support for those in need, and an additional $300 to $500 billion is necessary to transform the global food system. He also called for farmers to have better access to technology and financial support. The president pointed out the importance of including women and youth in decision-making, especially as many are projected to face poverty, lack of education, and food insecurity by 2030. He urged global leaders to make financial systems more inclusive and supportive of sustainable development.
Excellencies, as we seek to create a fair and just world, we must focus on including all our people. No region, no country, or no group must be left behind.
Additionally, President Ali highlighted Ghana's commitment to climate action. On a different note, Bartica has ramped up its campaign against driving under the influence, with 4 individuals charged in the Bartica Magistrates Court on Monday. Lonzo Narayan, a 24-year-old cashier, pleaded guilty to DUI and was fined $200,000 for 3 months imprisonment. Vishal Sancharan, a 32-year-old lorry driver, also pleaded guilty to DUI and faced the same penalty of $200,000 or 3 months imprisonment. Kevin Korea, a 32-year-old taxi driver, was fined $200,000 or 3 months imprisonment after pleading guilty to the DUI. And 58-year-old taxi driver Nikita Fagundes was fined $50,000 after pleading guilty to multiple charges, including refusal to take a breathalyzer test, unlicensed driving, and breach of insurance. The Ministry of Home Affairs has issued a stern warning to road users, urging them to adhere to traffic laws, especially regarding DUIs, as the authorities continue to enforce strict penalties to ensure road safety. In other news, work on the $15.8 billion government office complex has commenced, with off-site steel fabrication in progress. Strategically located in Eccles, the complex features 3 entry points accessible from major roadways, including the Demerara Harbour Bridge, the Oval East Bank Bypass, and the Heroes Highway. Minister of Public Works, Bishop One Edgehill, emphasized that substantial off-site work is advancing the project despite limited visible activity on site. Currently, the project is about 6% complete, with $2.6 billion already paid to the contractor, Caribbean Green Building Incorporated. The steel is being fabricated off-site and will be transported for assembly once prepared. Other ongoing works include sand filling, geotechnical investigations, and detailed designs, with completion expected by August 2026. Minister Edgehill clarified that the project is not linked to the Sheraton Four Points Hotel and is part of the government's long-term plan to centralize public services. He has strongly dismissed claims by opposition that public funds for the $15.8 billion government complex are being misused to build the Sheraton Four Point Hotel. The office complex will feature 4 12-story towers that accommodate 6,000 staff and address parking issues in central Georgetown. Don't go away after the break. UN humanitarian agencies face mounting pressure as global crisis outpace funding. And Tanzanian police crackdown on planned opposition rally.
Minds Educational Institute, offering preschool, nursery, and primary levels. Finally, a school that is every parent's dream, located at 69 Crow Street, offering academic excellence, trained qualified teachers, small class sizes, personalized care, and one-to-one attention for your little ones. At Smart Minds, register for full-time or evening classes, daily practice pass exam papers for proficiency at the grade 2, 4, and 6 assessment, and CXE exam preparedness, or join our Becca Phonics reading and writing program. So if your child is for preschool, nursery, or primary level, come to Smart Mind, located at 69 Crow Street, or call 231-4885 or 600-9229 to enroll now.
Good girl forget things. What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lenders, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Sneakily with a gift of sight from Modern Optical Services. Let our professional team examine and prescribe what's best for your eyes. Our smiles make fashionable faces. See us for a full line of optical services, including brand name and prescription eyewear. Modern Optical Services, 316 Middle Street, Georgetown. Telephone 226-1082.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton, and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Welcome back. Now we take a look at what's happening in the region and around the world. After a week of marching through Bolivia, former President Evo Morales and thousands of his supporters reached La Paz on Monday to protest against the government of current President Luis Arce on the country's economic decline, Al Jazeera's Alexandra Rampieti reports.
After a week of marching through Bolivia, former President Evo Morales and thousands of his supporters reached the capital La Paz on Monday to protest against the government of current President Luis Arce and the country's economic decline. It's the latest chapter of a deep schism in Bolivia's leftist politics that is pitching former allies against each other. On Sunday, supporters of Morales and groups loyal to Arce hurled firecrackers, homemade explosives and stones at each other in the city of El Alto, while riot police unleashed tear gas on the crowd.
It's very sad that this government has no conscience. It hurts me. I feel angry that these things are happening. How can this government not find their conscience? They're repressing the poor and the most humble people.
Tensions between Morales, who was a popular president from 2006 to 2019, and Arce, his former economy minister for 11 years, have grown since late 2021. The former allies are fighting for control of the country's Socialist Party and the candidacy for next year's presidential elections. In a televised speech on Monday, Arce accused Morales of attempting a coup against them.
Evo, lo más correcto.
Evo, the most correct thing would be for you to respect the political constitution of the state that you promoted. But your actions have gone in the opposite direction for several years. We ask you to respect the social pact expressed in our constitution.
Morales and Arce presided over Bolivia's economic miracle of the 2000s, slashing poverty and quadrupling the GDP as they rode the region's commodity boom. But now their bitter and very personal battle is taking a toll on Bolivia's suffering economy and stability, The country is going through a deep US dollar shortage that is jeopardizing subsidies and anti-poverty programs. Each side is blaming the other for the violence and instability, but with no solution in sight, many fear more unrest will unravel, with Morales' supporters saying they will remain in the capital until he's allowed to run again in next year's presidential elections. Alessandro Rampietti, Al Jazeera.
Internationally, UN humanitarian agencies are crucial for feeding the hungry, sheltering refugees, and educating children amid escalating global crisis. However, they face increasing pressure to do more with fewer resources as the UN Security Council struggles to resolve ongoing conflicts. Al Jazeera's Gabriel Alonso reports from the United Nations.
Whether it is feeding the hungry, sheltering refugees fleeing conflict, or educating children in need, the United Nations humanitarian agencies are often the only life-saving support to millions of people around the world. And the UN humanitarians in the field are increasingly under pressure to do more with less in a world with expanding crisis and needs.
The Security Council is called to order.
The Security Council, the 15-member UN body tasked with maintaining peace and security, has failed to end several conflicts, and that leads to ramifications far and wide.
And that then exacerbated and lengthens the amount of time that a humanitarian crisis is there on the ground. And so I think that is incredibly difficult for workers. You have a lot of burnout. You have people who are putting their all into these situations and trying to help people. And they often don't know when a political resolution to a conflict or to a crisis is going to come.
The UN has numerous humanitarian agencies working in the field. A few examples are the World Health Organization, the World Food Program, the UN Children's Fund known as UNICEF, and the UN High Commissioner for Refugees. In all, the UN employs about 139,000 humanitarians that work in over 130 different countries. How do you ascertain the health of UN agencies as a whole, and what more can be done to bolster their effectiveness in the life-saving work that they do around the world?
Well, the UN agencies are healthy. They need to be properly funded, but they are healthy. They are doing the job. They are working in a very effective way. The problem is that the humanitarian funding did not follow the dramatic multiplication of the needs, which makes many of our humanitarian operations be in an extremely difficult situation to be able to respond to the dramatic problems of the populations they are in contact, because simply they have not enough resources.
The role of the UN humanitarian agencies in the field is getting harder by the day, but also even more essential than ever. Gabriel Zondo, Al Jazeera, at the United Nations in New York.
Opposition groups in Tanzania are accusing the government of a crackdown ahead of general elections next year. Police arrested 3 opposition leaders who called for protests following the killing of a party official. Al Jazeera's Katrina Soy reports.
This is the moment Freeman Mbowe was arrested in the city of Dar es Salaam. He's an opposition leader of Chadema party. The party had called for protests following the recent murder of one of its members. Ali Mohammed Kibao was tortured and doused with acid. Chadema has accused Tanzania's government of disappearing its supporters.
The police have used excessive force. Our leaders cannot leave their homes. They've cordoned off my homes since last night. Officers have been searching and questioning people.
Chadema deputy leader Tundu Lissu was also arrested at his home. He's not new to Tanzania's politics. In 2017, he was shot several times by unknown gunmen and arrested many times. At the time, many Tanzanians under former President John Pombe Magufuli felt their freedoms had been curtailed. When President Samia Suluhu took over after the death of Magufuli in 2021, many believed she was the change they were looking for. She lifted a ban on political rallies imposed by her predecessor and held talks with opposition leaders calling for constitutional reforms. Last week, the president made this warning to opposition activists.
We will not tolerate civil disobedience. Those planning the protests should not forget where we have come from.
Some supporters like Eunice Ngo don't trust the president's assurances that the government will conduct a transparent investigation.
I've not lost hope. I have not seen my relative since he was arrested. 2 other party officials are missing. Until I see him, I will not rest.
Tanzania is expected to hold a general election next year. Opposition leaders and their supporters are worried that things might get worse closer to the polls. Catherine Soy, Al Jazeera.
This brings us to the end of our regional and global news coverage. Up next is the 3-day weather forecast. And that's Safe TV2 headline news for this Tuesday evening. As we take our leave, we invite you to follow us on Facebook and YouTube. You can tune in tomorrow at 6:30 a.m. for a rebroadcast and at 7 p.m. for more news. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.